Good morning, ladies. My name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku had
Doa Doa no mi.
as his powers. So, yeah, the and I'm also giving him the barrier fruit, the bear fruit. I think that's what it's called, or you may be wrong. Yeah. So, in this What If, he it's his power, not his quirk. His quirk is actually he developed a new power for him called evolution. So yeah, so he can use different yeah. So yeah, I'm also throwing in his sister. What by why not? And so yeah, so he decided, or no, before I get too ahead of myself. So when they were born, he was, or so they were at age of 4. They went, oops, not up to him. They went up to the court doctor, and they looked at him, the girl, Zumi, and told her that she has a fire manipulation quirk. As for Zuko, no, no, sorry, you can't become a hero without a quirk, kid. As Inko says, well, at least one of you brings in the big bucks. As they leave, as Inko and the Shashi spends way more time with Zumi than with Zuko. And Zuko gets beaten up by Bakugo. Oh? And no one cares about him. What the heck? So yeah. So then so his parents and or actually he unlocked a new ability for him called Future Sight. So yeah, as let's say his parents went and, or when he starts to tear up, because they didn't brought him because they bring him to the plane, but when he could sense that they will die on, as Zuko says to himself, as he's so blind that even but he could sense the, so his parents went on board, they took off, and it will happen as the engine would start to now dysfunction, but Zuko uses his foresight to see, and he opens the door as he tells them follow, or actually he opened the portal, like the doors right underneath everyone, so they all fell through. As he goes into the plane, pulls it up, he is not blind. So, yeah, he could sense the nucleus in the plane. So he put it on autopilot. As he walks down, as he could smell the radiation. As he goes, he uses that stick to help him maneuver. You're probably laughing your heads off because a blind child, as it's right underneath. So as he looks, as he sees it right underneath him, so as he moves slower, slower to avoid that. So he pulls the engine things, or the autopilot, as he lifts it up, straight up, as it explodes. As everyone was shocked when they thought the people were on the plane. Like, they were, like, about a lot of people on planes. Yeah. The he dropped the people off at their house. No. As Inco, or let's say like all the younger students of class 1A, like him, or no, her, and him, and her, and yeah. So all the younger classmates that they didn't know each other at the time went on, as he actually saved their lives because he uses his power. As Inko was like, of course, as she's like freaking out because she couldn't believe, as she's trying to look around for her son. But when she saw the news of the explosion, yeah, Zuko, she thought he was dead because she remembers him, or she remembers her on that plane before, as the explosion, or before the explosion happened. As, yeah. And she also remembers the portal opens up underneath them, and they all fell through. As when she thought about Zuko, she starts tearing up, as she couldn't believe that her own son used his, or unlocked quirk. Yeah. To save their lives. And, yeah. As he's in the bottom of the ocean right now. As he picks up his stick. Because, and the barrier. Right here. That surrounds him without having to cross his fingers. As he picks himself up. As he, like, lifts himself up. As he walks around. Let me remind you, he's blind. So, yeah. Funny thing is, he unlocks a new ability when he fell asleep. He talks to fish. As a little shark comes and says, "Hey, why are you underwater? Do you have a water quirk?" "No, I'm blind." Or they came from the. As the shark realizes that this kid, must be again from, as he's blind, so he can't see properly. So, yeah. So the shark decided, instead of eating him, he ends up guiding him. So, yeah, and so does all the other fishes and all that stuff. Like squids and, yeah, everything. This kid's walking around the entire ocean as a whale swam right next to him. Yeah. As he's trying to maneuver underwater, as the shark says, "Go to your left." Okay. As he ends up going back to his home state, where they thought he was dead. Yeah. So let's do a time skip, because it takes too long. As he gets to there, as he made sure that, yeah, because the barrier, as he's like trying to pin her, and as Captain Seal saw him, or someone saw him. Let's say she saw him coming out of the water, as she tells her, or she alerts her pro hero, like her captain, that then, as he is blind, so she ends up, or so her and Seal, yeah, ended up asking him about, like, so many things. But when she looked at, or when, as he's trying to maneuver around, as he says, as the shark sends the like not like a bite, but more like the telepath, or Zuko telepathically tells Seal that he's not trying to ignore him. He's as he points to his ear, he just can't hear. As he's putting him and Seal was basically says, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were ignoring me. I didn't know that you were blind and deaf at the same time. And based off of your wounds, you must have been like in the tense battle." As he says, the one of my old friends did this to me. As he ran them to they ran him to the hospital to see what, as his eyes, so is he can't regain his eyesight for a while. So he ends up trying to maneuver around. As this blind kid he never had this much kindness as he tries to, as rumors are spreading around that because his power allows him to basically made a shield for himself. It was like and so everyone thought he was dead, but then when and one day he wanted to get his face rubbed, or actually with water from of course the nurse did the water thing, as something happened as he because there's water, and he tries to, it tickles his eyes as he wasn't dead, but the water puddle, or not puddle, but the ones for it to clean his face, when he puts his hand in the water, touch a cup thing, the water turned into, you might not believe me, but it turned into a fountain of youth water. And when he wiped his face, his eyesight got back to it was, as he sees as he rubs his eyes, as his, let's say, before, his eyes were white. Like, whiter than... Yeah, because how blind he was. And... Yeah. It is, like, whiter than, like, hers when she chows down on, like, food. That one. Yeah, but then when the nurse saw his eyesight was back, as he slowly, as, yeah, they realized that this kid's he's not quirkless at all. Actually, the doctor went through the experiment or test thing, and what he found was a elemental in his genetics. It's called infinity. So basically, he can produce teleportation, he can do everything. And he develops new and uncontrollable abilities, like quirks, at his will. So the doctor says, hold on, as the nurse was going to throw it out, as he saw how clear the blue one, as he uses the needle to, like, drop some of that when he takes out the plugs, tilted his head, and yeah, when the doctor, like, drops it, as he could hear every word without those earpod looking things in his ear. As, yeah, his hearing's back through one ear, and he did it with the other. As he can now talk again. As they were so surprised that this kid had actually turned water into the fountain of youth. So, you know what they did? They turned the entire water supply that they have into the fountain of youth. Yeah, that's how we roll. Animal prints are out of control. Or I'm vaccinated. So yeah. So as he gets up, or as when they put him in the, like, shower thing, or when they dump that water onto him, his body starts to, like, heal up. Like there was no wounds or nothing. As the discovery has been made. As it spread like fire, a wildfire. Yeah. As the news reporters, like, let me remind you, he's at age of 5. No, age of 6, I forgot to mention. He's at age of 6 years old. When he was, yeah. So then as news reporters ran up to the hospital thing, and they did the interviews thing with the nurses of, this is a miracle. As like Zumi was at school, but Inko was watching the news, as she saw what she saw, she was crying, as she couldn't believe her own son is on the news. As his body didn't even age. So yeah. As Inko went over, grabbed a Shashi, or actually told us Shashi that that's because let's say he was like busy with something, as when she was still mad at, or no, he's still mad at her for the to let their son die like that. But when Inko told him that she there's a possibility he'd still be alive, as when he stopped, he turned around, he heard that. Yeah. As he's at the hospital. As she goes, or they go pick up Zumi after school. And Zumi tells, or no, actually, Inko tells Zumi that do you remember the plane incident? Yeah, I do. That but there was a miracle. Or my brother, Hearns, brought us that miracle, but he's dead. No. He's actually, there's a possibility of him survived. As, yeah, they all start running. Or no, they ran to the hospital, and they see a Zuku Midoriya. As, yeah, he walks around, putting, because he's like, they think him as guns, or they think of him as a gun, has blessed him with a special power. Yeah, put that on your, yeah. So, it is like Zumi on a whole nother level. As Inko, when he turns to see Inko, Asashi, and Zumi, he starts, like, he's happy. He starts running towards them, as he was happy to see them, as they are happy to see him too. So yeah, as they couldn't believe that he survived that. As he of course, everyone in the hospital saw him, or saw his parents, and he got blessed to have him around. As yeah, because yeah, so the Inko, even Bakugo, oh, like when he saw his friend on the news, he was like, how did that nerd get this famous? Well, as let's say her or his like father says, well, he probably has a special gift that is especially. You said he didn't have a quirk, right? Yeah. Well, he probably has a special one that. Yeah. They all went and. Yeah. They all now care about him. They all had blesses to the family for having their son actually came out of the water into the hospital and then all that stuff. As Inko asked Zumi, or no, not Zumi, Zuko, about the, what happened to that plane thing. As Zuko tells her that he knew that both of you, or he knew that everyone was about to die. Because as he shares what he saw, and most of them, the people, they saw horrified Inko and Nasashi and Zumi, as they couldn't believe that they saw, or what he predicted. And yeah. So that's why he had to use something. Then my power, or I felt this weird force in me. As he, opens and closes his fingers up and down. As Zumi says, I really don't care. As long as you're with us, that's all I care about. As, yeah. She knew what she was talking about. Yeah. So then now the time skip to about 15. Everywhere he goes, he gets praised by everyone. Younger version of her, him, her, her. Yeah, even. Yeah. Then all the So now the 15, they go to UA. As he trains more on his barrier and his door fruit thing, and like all that stuff. So, yeah. He should have just labeled there what his powers could do. Yeah. So, I'll just probably label it as infinity and zero. So, yeah. He ends up, as that reminds him when he saw Seal for his first time, that, that this guy, as he tells, or as Seal, actually one day, when he was just visiting with the UA, he finds, or no, he meets Zuko again. Looks like you're her power turning water into like the fountain of youth. Really saved a bunch of lives. And nice to meet you again. I forgot about, as did you find anything on out of the ordinary? Well, about the ship or the plane thing, not but the plane that crashed or exploded. Man, what did planes ever do to you? I wasn't the one that put the and on. I didn't know that there was as he tells him, was there a nuke on there when you found the plane? I actually did. It was not on it. As he shows a picture of what it looked like, as he knows that as he realizes that he picks up scraps and all that stuff. As his, he usually, when he accessed his, he knew which villain did it. It was, but he's not going to tell Seal, but because as Seal already noticed something's when he activates his past sight and future sight at the same time. As when he saw the villain, one of the not overhauls villains, but he saw All for Ones, one of his goons, villains, and well, or actually he saw Overhaul, but he won't tell Seal that. He says it's just some random villain that really has a teleporter thing. So, yeah. Well, just give me a name and I'll track him down. Well, I'll probably tell all what his name or the villain's name. But yeah. It's just, okay, as it's just probably some, yeah. So he went up to All for One, or no, All Might. I meant, yeah. So he went up to All Might and tells him who the villain that, of course, All Might congratulates him, and when Zuko activated the past one, he knows that it was All for One, but he tells All Might that it was someone that you probably know, who, a villain called All for One. As All Might's eyes widened, as he couldn't believe that, or actually when he showed when he activated his past thing, or past sight, that's what I call it. It showed All for One placing the nuke onto the plane's cargo thing. As All Might tells Zuko that for being one powerful gun, you sure do predict someone's actual moves. Yeah. So, yeah. So, now I'm skipping the internship and the ball throw and the heroes versus villains. But now, please wait for part 2. I'm going to go over it, so have fun.